Today we're going to talk about how I annotate my books so that way if you want to annotate, you can do it too. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Estella, and I hope you all are enjoying the holidays if you celebrate. If not, I hope you're just enjoying some time off. So I wanted to really talk about annotating books. I had Desley Jane Plans here on YouTube and Instagram ask if I could share a video talking about how I annotate my books, basically, because I shared on my stories in Instagram like all the kind of like annotations that I've did or have done. And just by judging on the side view, you could see that both of these books have a lot of annotations. At first, I wanted to be all cute and neutral, but then I was like, you know what? I want my page flags to kind of match the theme of the book or go with that theme. And I really want the page flags to stand out because if I ever reread this, which I will most likely reread these books, I want to see what I wrote and I want to see what I annotated. So in this one, I definitely have to take out. So I will share with you where I put these. But for now, we're just going to take that out. So annotating is basically a way for you to kind of mark important points in a book, whether it's a quote, whether it's a foreshadowing, conflict, tension, romance, smut, anything that you want to kind of make a note of in your book while you're reading it. That's what annotation is. It kind of reminds me of commonplacing. It's like the commonplacing of books, right? Except you're annotating inside the book, you're writing in the book. Initially, if I know I'm not keeping the book in my permanent collection, I don't really try to annotate unless it's something that is a special edition or something like that, because I want to keep the books like very much intact. But these are the soft cover books, so I am planning on getting like a hardcover limited edition or special edition like sprayed edges when I can afford it in the future. But for now, these are just my personal copies, and you could see that I've, just read and loved these books, like just going through it, reading it, circling items. And I'm doing a little more circling in different colors just to kind of show you what I'm talking about in terms of important aspects in a book. So let's take a look at one of these books here. I have A Court of Mist and Fury. This is by Sarah J. Maas. And then I had like extra sticky tabs here for some strange reason. But I did have what these tabs mean. So this tab right here says Night Court, which is a world. This one says conflict. This one says romance. This one says quotes. And this one says history. And then here it also says predictions. So if I bring it closer, you can see all that. So if I go to like a dark blue tab here, this is supposed to be history, right? It is the Lashon HaKodesh, or the Holy Tongue. So this is based on the history of the Night Court and things that they were trying to figure out in there, right? So I can easily open up a tab and read what it's about. And if I need a reminder, then I just have my tabs and the meanings of the tabs here. So that is something that I love. And each book is going to be different. Each book has a different plot, different storyline. So you want to make sure you're annotating the books according to that. For A Court of Wings and Ruin, I have Feyre. I have emotions here. Feyre emotions, right? The magic. History. What does this one say? Rivalry, Highburn, quotes, powers, and then relationships. Again, all these different colors are just blending beautifully with the book. But if I wanted to go to, let's say, Highburn, which is like this orange one here, and I have it underlined, right? But none of it excuses you for lying to me. So this is like when her father kind of like lied and kind of mentioned something with Highburn. But you get the point. So if you color code it according to what's the theme or what's the story about in the book, you're able to kind of break it down even more. And then you could always go back and reference it. You could always go back and kind of write your favorite quotes if you want a commonplace. So I always love keeping a track of quotes because I think it's great for commonplacing. Like, what is a quote here that I tabbed? No, but I do. Don't give me that look. He's right. We need you here more. So that was definitely a quote, kind of snapping back at one of the characters. And it just makes me laugh. It gives me a feeling. It gives me an emotion that's very, very like memorable. The answer to what you need. Stop hot. There you go again. So all these quotes that are specific with the book and the conflict and the rising action, the falling action, that's all here. And it depends what is quote worthy to you. You may not find what I put as a quote quote worthy, and that's okay. My book is my book, your book is your book, and the way you annotate is the way you annotate. So for the latest one, this is going to be hysterical. So these are these books here. Very well loved. This one, I like slammed it into something and I try to flatten it. And then usually once I'm done reading, I like wipe them clean and then I put them back in my bookshelf because this is part of my permanent collection, which I love. And then for this one, I have A Court of Silver Flames. I think this one is the thickest book. Is it the thickest book? It's about the same thickness as A Court of Wings and Ruin, and I just went through that like quickly. So I have this tab because I noticed when I tab a book I really like, I have trouble finding where my tabs are. So I decided to put this here in the front, the planner and me. Then I use this nice sticky note here, and this is from Hemlock and Oak and washi tape. But basically, these are all my tabs. So I have foreshadowing, Nesta and Cassian, Nesta's powers, quotes, tension and conflict, sisters and relationships, romance, world, and Nesta's depression. And obviously I use that dark color because I think it fits so well. And then on top of that, as you can see, I already started, and this is what it tends to look like in the beginning. And there's already several tabs in there. And then what I am now starting to do, and I will show you an example, is if there's something really key, I'm starting to use a different color. So I basically use this pen here, the Jetstream 3. It has 3 colors, the red, the blue, and the black. Okay, so I want it to focus. There we go. So that is the pen I'm using. And basically, if it's something really, really important, I am going to circle it in red because it has to do with a correlating like wording, text, foreshadowing, character. You know, he had forgotten terror. So this is something that I circled because I thought it was really, really important. I'm trying to see a lot of the foreshadowing here. They trembled when she emerged, right? This is when Nesta transformed into a high fae. And if you don't know the story, oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so good. So I put this here because I'm like, okay, what did she exactly emerge as? Because she is high fae, but she's also something so much darker. And I think we find out in this book. And I'm not, you know, watching any videos or anything like that because I don't want any spoilers. No more visits to Amren's apartment. That's a friendship that ended. So I just circled that. And then no joy, no laughter in any plane of it of her. So this is like her depression. So as you can see, this definitely has to do with the storyline. It has to do with a character, Nesta, in the book. And basically her going through her own hill, her own mountain, her depression, her emotions, her grief, her anger, everything, just everything falling apart, and a war is coming or a battle is coming. I know that, and there's definitely more in this world because if you look at the map gets more intricate. So here's this map. Let me see if I could show you the other map here. Here's this map. Do you see the difference in the map for Prithian? Do you see that? So this is letting me know there's gonna be something happening. So that is how I do that. So those are my babies there. Love that world. I'm gonna show you another book. This book was excellent. Love this book. She's definitely a rebuy for me because I just love her writing. It's so genius. It involved a lot of empathy and emotion. The cover is just gorgeous. I just really love her writing, and will definitely be a rebuy. She's in my permanent collection. Love her. And then I'm gonna go to where my tabs are, where Sleeping Girls Lie, right? And Sade's Past and Visions, Clues for Elizabeth, Predictions, Quotes, right? And then it says Teacher Clues, because they're trying to figure out what happened with a student in this school, and it's very like dark academia mystery. And basically her roommate disappears. They think that she, you know, kind of something else happened, more darker. And obviously, as we get into the characters and we start reading more about the story, you get to learn different things about the characters. So like if I go to like Clues, which wasn't much, so maybe I have to go to another one, like Predictions, right? If I go to Predictions, I highlighted this, right? This time through the box, though the box was filled with nothing but jewelry. So this is a prediction because it's like, what does the box have to do with her roommate? What does it have to do with her roommate disappearing? An IP address, an email? What does all this have to do with the main character, right? What when she's trying to discover what happened to her roommate? And I just love this. I used highlighting. I used the black pen. So you can definitely use a highlighter if you want to. These are the highlighters I do use. I use the midliner or mile liner, midliner, mile liner, and this is the exact green I used. And I highlighted certain things in the book because I'm like, this is really important. This is for Elizabeth. This is finding the character, her roommate. I'm drawing arrows. So you can pretty much like journal and write in your book. And I really do love this because it allows you to be immersed in the world. It allows you, here's this. Who is Jamila, right? Who's that? So I'm like literally writing notes in here, right? Like, I don't really understand what I wrote here because I was deep in this. This is who is responsible for Elizabeth. This is what I put here. I'm like, this is who is responsible for Elizabeth. This is who did it. And I'm trying to figure out who did it. I'm like, I'm even putting top tabs. I was dedicated in this book. Like, I really wanted to find, I put OMG, right? Like, I was really trying to figure out what happened in this book. This book really took me on a term. Jay Ripley. Oh my goodness. Jamila and Sade. So here it goes again. This book is so good. Like, I would read it again. Elizabeth is alive. Like, all these things. Oops, I put a spoiler. Okay, spoiler. Spoiler that. Skip ahead. So, you know, this is another one. Like, it really depends what the story's about. Like, you read the book in the beginning here. It'll tell you a synopsis of what the story's going to be about. And then once you do that, you're going to start writing, you know, or some people also just read the book first and get a feel for like what they want to put in terms of annotations. And then they write it in the beginning of the book. Some people want to put their annotations first and then read the book. It really depends on what you want to do. There's no right or wrong way to do it. This is A Fate Inked in Blood. I really enjoyed this book. Cannot wait for the second book. This was a special edition. She is a shiny girl. I love the cover though. So if you love like Norse mythology or Viking mythology, like The Last Kingdom or Vikings of Valhalla, this is a book that you will enjoy. I give it like a 4.5, 2 on the spicy smut stuff, but you get my point. So with this one, I put several colors on one page. And if I go to the beginning of my book, I have banter, love, Viking history, family, clues, betrayal. And then I have like power here, right? And I was putting sometimes multiple colors in one page because I was like, oh, there's banter here. I love banter, first of all. And then Viking history, I found it so interesting that I just really enjoyed reading about characters. And if you watch like Vikings of Valhalla or The Last Kingdom, some of these names are very familiar. Like the Newt is very familiar. Skade is very familiar. Thor is very familiar. So all these characters, right, they're familiar. And then we have clues and predictions. So I was like making some clues and predictions. I was trying to figure out who is going to betray this character. Like what happens in the end. And there's a book 2. And I heard that, you know, someone's getting betrayed. But I didn't want to read too much into that because, you know, I didn't want to spoil it for myself. Loki. So I am underlining, I am putting like multiple colors in one single page. I am highlighting. Again, it's whatever the book is about, and then basically what you want to align with reading and what you want to align with underlining, what you want to align with annotating. For me, I always think about it as common placing while you're reading. Basically coming up with these specific things that you're looking for in a book, and then you're reading it and you're underlining it, you're highlighting it, you are doing whatever you want to do. You want to write notes in it. This is your book. You can write notes in it. You want to take a sticky note and scribble something on there, go ahead and do that. Annotating is something that I think kind of immerses you in the world. What are the items that you need to annotate? You can just read the book and use a pen. This will forever be the #1 annotation tool, is a pen. Any pen. Doesn't have to be a uni Jetstream. You don't have to do that. Just any good old pen. If you want to go a little further, you can get mile liner markers, any type of markers, Crayola markers, whatever you want to highlight things in a book. Very simple, very plain. If you want to start getting tabs, you can order them from Amazon or go to your local store. If you have difficulty getting things because of work or family or being a caregiver, you can order on Amazon. And I pick up tabs based on colors now because every book has a different like color feeling. So for me, this one is very much giving, you know, quarter silver flames, because all the emotions, all the things that are happening in this book, I feel like it goes with it, right? Like I like to also line up colors with the book themselves, you know, and pick colors that go with it. So I'm going to show you an example of these tabs, and these tabs are like, you know, $6.99. They're affordable. So I have this one, I have this one, I have a purple one. I have, you know, this color here. This is like good for A Throne of Glass, like the first book. That kind of reminds me of that. I have this one, and then these are the other ones that I also bought on Amazon. I literally cut off the edge with a score cutter. But here goes 1, here goes 2, here goes 3, here goes 4. Oops, that one's picking up at the end. Here goes another one. Here goes another one. I sometimes may not use all these tabs. Sometimes I have left over. Sometimes I don't. And it really depends. But what I like to do is keep these tabs here because I like having options of colors. And I like having options of themes, and that's pretty much it. People have this notion like, oh, if you don't annotate, are you really reading? It doesn't really matter. You can read a book, you can listen to a book. I love listening to the audio of a book while I'm physically reading it because I like to get immersed in the reading. I like to hear the story. I like to see the characters come to life. Sometimes when I read a book, like Fourth Wing, I literally read that without no audio. I just read it on my own, and I read it like in 2-3 days. Because, you know, being a caregiver, you're busy. But for me to read that in 2 to 3 days, that last book was like 600, 700 pages. I read it in a couple of days, and that's in my permanent collection on my top tier shelf. But there's no right or wrong way to read. There's also no right and wrong way to annotate. Whether you annotate or you don't annotate, as long as you're reading and enjoying the book and immersed in a world or whatever reason you're reading, then you do whatever makes you happy. And I am in the world of, I really got into reading because of Assistant to the Villain and Fourth Wing, and then my love of reading came back because when I was in school, when I was in undergrad, when I was getting my master's, I was reading because I had to. And it was not fun. It was a lot of educational books, and I was just like, oh. But now it's like my love of reading came back full force. I have like a TBR cart. I'm so excited. And then I love that I can journal about these books. And the way I'm reading, I'm starting to notice that I'm reading faster. I'm picking up more books, and I could go through them quickly. And then whatever I don't want in my permanent collection will go to a little library. Will get donated to a local library. Why? Because why not spread the love of reading? So I hope this kind of gives you any inspiration, ideas. And like I said, you can use any one of these. You can think of it as commonplacing for your book, what you're reading. But I love annotating. I love just being able to be in a world and really immersed in it. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time. Bye.